Hello, and welcome back to the last episode of our podcast, Domestic Workers Organizing for Legal Change in Asia. In the sixth and final episode, we are in Indonesia. Southeast Asia's largest economy has long relied on more than 4 million workers for household work, of which an estimated 3 in 4 are women. But Indonesia's key labor law falls short of explicitly recognizing domestic workers in their labor law. Domestic workers in Indonesia have spent more than 2 decades fighting for legislation to protect their rights. The key challenge they face? How to build political will among parliamentarians who are themselves employers of domestic workers and benefit from the status quo. Today, we have with us Lita Anggraini from the National Network for Domestic Workers Advocacy, known as Jala PRT. She's the co-founder and national coordinator of Jala PRTs and carries with her over 30 years of experience with the domestic workers movement. Jala PRT is a national network of unions, NGOs, legal aid institutes, and allied social justice groups working to advance domestic workers' rights across Indonesia. Lita shares some of the research, mobilization, and advocacy strategies they've used over the years. When I spoke with her in January 2024, they had already crossed 100 days of a rotational hunger strike, demanding that the long-awaited bill moves forward in Parliament. So, to start us off, could you just tell us a bit more about Jala PRT, when it was formed, and about its members?
Yeah. Jala PRT has more than 30 members. The members is Domestic Workers Union, of course, and then women organization, and the other CSO, civil society organization like social organization, and then like Legal Aid Institute, and then also some trade union, and also some CSO that concern on social security, social justice, and etc.
So could you tell us a bit more about the union, like when they were formed and how it was formed? Was it difficult when you had to get it registered?
Yeah, this of course, domestic worker is as the characteristic worker, that because domestic worker work in its household in a house per house, and so it's different with the general workers that they have union, and also the recruitment is different because they in one company, one firm, one manufacturer to recruit, but to recruit and to organize domestic worker is very different. We must recruit them domestic worker door to door, one by one. Is we use rep method. This rep is like say in come and join us, as unions to make a change of our situation. And we every city has a different, because it's also influenced by the culture. Like in Jakarta, different with the other cities, like in Central Java, Jogja, where also there are union of domestic worker also established. He have more than 13,000 members registered, and more than 700 leader from district until level group 10. That's because we have a method of the leadership of domestic workers union from the center in district, and then in community based, and then community based is mean like sub district, and then sub district like in the village, and then also then we group in again every 10 people, and then we grouping again and every 5 people, because it's very important how to reach the domestic worker in house per house. Yeah, so it's so we make group of 5 people, group of 10 people, to make coordination, to build communication, and how to make intensive relation among members, uh, uh, and coordination in domestic worker union, like that.
Okay. Thank you. So you were mentioning like you use these different organizing strategies. So did you mean that they are broken into small groups according to their neighborhoods, like 10-10, and then they organize other domestic workers in the region?
Yeah. Yeah, we recruit in the members. This is in different method. First, we identify, we map where the domestic worker we can meet. Yeah, okay, we can find like in the kindergarten, like in the supermarket, traditional market, in the station, in the bus terminal, and and the and also like in the uh, vegetables seller, yeah, and also in the garden, public garden. We have the two methods of recruitment. It's by online. We use we we post our activities in social media, and we give a contact number, and also offline recruitment. That's this directly face to face, that I have to share by door to door, and go to market, go to kindergarten, like that. Yeah, but the uh, more effective use the offline, yeah, because it's how to introduce ourselves, and also how to build uh, communication directly, to explain, and then how to invite to join our organization, and how to trust, to build trust, yeah, among the target domestic worker that we have recruit to be member, like that.
Okay, that's really interesting. And so I had heard from Fish, the IDWF coordinator in Asia, that you're presently working on bringing a new law for domestic workers. So could you tell us a bit more about that process, how it began, why it began, and what's going on right now?
Yeah, we submit, we draft the law, the domestic worker law, since 1999, and based on our research, and then after this we trying to examine the draft with the contract letter between domestic worker and employer, and that employer has willingness to be uh, partner in the examination of the draft of domestic worker, and then after this we submit the draft of domestic worker since 2004, and to the parliament, the House of Representative, and then after 5 years, the draft of the domestic worker law become the legislation priority, and uh, that upset by nine commission. That commission and that handle in work working uh, issue, and also health issue, and then they also make their draft, and 2010, yeah, they start to the parliament start to research the domestic about domestic worker intensive 10 cities, and then they finish the draft, and they 2012 they make a compare study to South Africa and Argentina, and then the 2013 they make a public dialogue in 3 cities in Indonesia, and they finish the draft of the domestic worker law 2013, and then they submit to legislative body, because legislative body is the body of the parliament that's authority to decide is will continue to deliberate or to be deliberate or not. But um, uh, in 2014, the legislative body stop the law. Yeah, it's very long advocacy and struggle, because we face the legislator, the member of the parliament, because in Indonesia, uh, majority of the employers is from upper class until low class, and also in our parliament, almost 100% they also employer that hire domestic worker. So there are conflict interest in the member of parliament. That's they worry if the law will be passed, it will be influenced. That's the status quo, the privilege that they get as an employer during this time. They, as an employer, they get privilege of domestic worker, because they can uh, order or give tax everything to the domestic worker without regulation. Yeah, like the domestic worker in Indonesia work in a long working hour, unlimited burden, no social security, healthy security, and also employment security, no 1 day off, no also no severance, no annual leave. Yeah, there are not rights for domestic worker in Indonesia.
Yeah.
So this is the legislator is very worried about the domestic worker law.
So you're saying like since 2014, like it's gone to the legislative body, but it has still not come through the law.
Yeah, and then we try again to 2019 with always the advocacy, but in the waiting list of the priority, and then 2019, and then 2020, the vice chairperson of legislative body uh, 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 as willingness, political willingness to continue to deliberate the draft of domestic worker law, and then uh, the legislative body take the domestic worker the draft, and uh, finish the draft of the domestic worker law, and then uh, uh, we do advocacy campaign, and we mobilize support from CSO, social movement, like labor movement, like that, and also of course, mass media play main role to make to raise this issue, to blow up this issue, and the to 2020 the legislative body finished the draft and then submit to the uh, uh, plenary. After 3 years, the legislative body finished to 2023. And the president gives statement that the president has commitment to deliberate and pass the draft of the law as soon as possible, because it's very important for domestic worker that as a worker and give a big contribution to the uh, uh, state. Yeah, and we must recognize and they there as worker and as on their role and also fulfill the rights. Yeah, and then the chairperson of parliament keep respond. That's the 21st of March. The plenary of the parliament decide the domestic worker law become initiative. So still need one step again to pass the law. But now we close to the general election. There are the political constellation is very very uh, just like competition among political party in parliament.
And so, what are some of the strategies that you used while advocating for this law? I heard that Jala PRT had gone on hunger strike for many weeks.
Yeah, just it's today is the 100 more than 115. We conduct hunger strike when past strike. Yeah, we'll make a marathon. Marathon is like estafette. Yeah, 2 or 3 people that take a hunger strike or fast. Yeah, fasting. Yeah,
Yes,
go to
yes,
the
I know. Yeah.
parliament. Go to in the parliament every day to show that we uh, demand the parliament to finish the domestic worker law before the election or before the end of the period. And we demand as soon as possible, and we also address to the chairperson of the parliament that the chairperson of the parliament also the largest political party that's they have slogan pro people, poor people.
Okay. And what are some of the major challenges that you've encountered so far?
Yeah, the challenges is about the conflict interest in the parliament. And first, there's the member of parliament is also employer. They have interest about the situation as employer, that they don't want to change the privilege the situation because the law. Yeah, this is the first,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
in always in our meeting with the legislator, they always discuss their domestic worker that work in their household. Oh, they
Yeah,
also, yeah. They
yeah.
they they don't
This,
want the change. The domestic worker say no. They don't want the domestic worker say I need 1 day off. They because they don't want the domestic worker ask the uh minimum wage like that. So that, yeah. So they had to hold they try to mix status quo. Yeah. And the
yeah,
second challenge is also the political situation close to generalization that I have told you that's the competition among political party in running of the president candidate, and also the among legislator, yeah, to run to be put again as legislator again, yeah. And also just uh, this minority issue in the parliament, because just little legislator member of parliament that support us to promote the domestic worker law.
Yeah, this is a common challenge that we see everywhere. Like the people in charge of making the law are also employers, and they themselves don't want to change. So, and what would you say are your two, three main hopes from this new legislations? What are the main things that you want to see
Yeah,
that
of
comes
course,
through?
the first, yeah, the content, the the content of the draft is referred to in the ILO Convention 189 about decent work, and also social justice, social protection, and also inclusion. And then second, also the draft will be continue to deliberate as soon as possible, and pass this year, uh, yeah, in the period as soon as possible, uh, not not wide the general election, not not to be wide, not to not too wide, not be too wide until second round of general election, like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
They have the legislature have responsibility to finish the law, uh, to pass the law. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's yeah, because
yeah.
it's also 20 years in the parliament. It's the only law that's a very
Mm,
long process in the parliament. Yeah.
yeah. So I think your first hope is that it just gets passed this year. Yeah. And so without the laws now, what protections do domestic workers in Indonesia have? Like, do they have any protection, any law that they can rely on right now?
We have ministry regulation on the domestic worker law, but you know that the ministry regulation is unbinded law, so cannot force about the implementation. And also the ministry uh, regulation in the domestic worker uh, more right about the relationship among domestic worker with the agency, the recruiter agency. Yeah, and also it's not about the the rights of domestic worker, the protection of domestic worker. That's yeah, like that.
So the ministry regulation is more to do with the recruitment agency and how that
Yeah, yeah.
works.
They more
Oh,
regulate the agency than about domestic worker rights, protection, like that. Yeah.
okay, okay. Thank you so much. So before we let you go, like, could you share with us your story, like how you started working in the domestic workers movement?
Yeah, I joined the domestic worker movement since I was student, 1991. Before we uh, when I was student, we together with the women student, we established women student forum, and then we advocate about the violence against women's, and also worker women's, yeah, and then also human rights. And and then 1991 we get news that one of domestic worker torture in East Java, and then we decide that we concern and focus on the domestic worker law, domestic worker issue, and we must organize and organize domestic worker. We must advocacy domestic worker to have a law, and also how to build the conflict interest among citizen to the domestic worker, uh, to uh, to become the common interest, because the is how to, because when we I was student, is the advocacy start in Yogyakarta, just one cities, is, and then we want to make a national movement about domestic worker issue, and because domestic worker issue is about the gender bias, yeah, class bias, feudalism, modern slavery, and trafficking is, yeah, also race is bias, yeah. So why we, because the is the domestic worker issue is feminist issue, so, and also human right issue, worker issue, everything is issue in domestic worker. So we must advocate this issue and also organize domestic worker, how domestic worker can make a union to represent their interests, to claim their rights, like that. And yes, it's like yes, until like no, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. And I wish you all the best with the new legislation. We hope that it
Thank
comes
you.
through.
Thank you. This is I very worried and super stressful to how to make it happen. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's political constellation very, yeah, influence the process also, and but the factor is about the interest of the members of parliament as employer, and then as a legislator that uh, uh, struggle their constituent, such as domestic worker. Yeah.
Thank you, Lita, for sharing these important developments from domestic workers movement in Indonesia. There are so many aspects that go into advocacy that you've highlighted today: research, organizing and mobilizing, protests, meeting with elected officials, and hunger strikes. And that advocacy takes so much time when the odds are stacked against you, when those who are in power in making decisions are the employers themselves. I, and I'm sure all our listeners, wish you and the movement success. Dear listeners, please, as always, check the links in the description to learn about Jala PRT and their work. And thank you all for staying with us till the very end. Through this podcast series, we've heard stories of hope and inspiration from our esteemed guests. I hope all of you, like me, will carry it with you. I also hope you want to hear more stories like this. Please do share the series with your friends and comrades. Maybe we'll meet again. Until then, it's goodbye and thank you from me.
A Sonologue production.